Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Today I have the second in my series of 5 faves for you. This time we're looking at some of my favourite cookbooks. I really love cooking. I also really love baking. Surprisingly, none of these are really baking books, although they do feature some cake recipes in them as well. Some of them, well, one of them is more baking than the others. I don't always find it easy to cook because I live on my own, so I don't cook as much as I used to. When I had housemates, we'd cook for each other regularly, but I do still love buying cookbooks and I love trying out new recipes, and I tend to make up a big vat of food and then I'll freeze it and have homemade ready meals when I want them. So I do love cooking for myself. And without further ado, here are the books. Now I say 5 faves, there are actually 6 books here because I couldn't choose between the first 2. So I'm just going to talk about them together. So I've got 2 of the BBC Good Food series here. We've got 101 Cheap Eats and 101 Low Fat Feasts. These are great little cookbooks. The recipes in them are all quite straightforward, and I was flicking through trying to decide between them, and they both have some really great recipes that I really love in them. One of my favourite ones from this one is a Mediterranean shepherd's pie. This is my sort of go-to shepherd's pie recipe, and I think this has also got pesto rice cake, which was one of my favourite recipes as a student. And then this low fat feast one is one that I tend to go to a little bit more these days than the other one, just because I'm trying to eat more healthily all the time. So my favourite recipe in here is pork with pine kernels. This is one that I do make quite regularly. I tend to have it with couscous or bulgur beet instead of with pasta, and then I can have it for lunches as well. It makes it a little bit lighter again than having it with the pasta. And it's a very straightforward recipe, and that's what I like about these books, is they're very simple, very straightforward recipes, very easy to make. I do highly recommend this series. My parents have a couple of other editions from this series as well. Yeah, they're just really good, quick, easy, nice recipes, and they're generally quite cheap as well. I think these were £1 each when I bought them. Anyway, so that's those 2. So the next cookbook I have here is the Usborne First Cookbook, which I actually think was my first cookbook. So this is very simply written recipes aimed at being made by children, so it's all illustrated with cartoons of these little miniature chefs doing all the cooking, and it's just a really sort of child-friendly cookbook that I used to love using. My favourite recipe in here is chocolate brownie recipe, which is still my go-to brownie recipe. Anytime I make brownies, this is the recipe I use, and I also adapted it for blondies, so white chocolate brownies, but I still stick to that recipe. And at one point I knew it so well that I could actually make the brownies without needing to refer to it, because I could remember all the ingredients and the method is so straightforward, and it makes the best brownies. And it's got lots of other recipes that I haven't tried that I want to try as well, ranging in difficulty. So it's even got profiteroles, things that sort of your average baker probably wouldn't try in there as well, but then mixed with sort of really straightforward things like how to do different ice cream sundaes for your friends if they're coming around for a party, which I think is just really sweet, and it's just a really lovely sweet book. It's got, the next one I'm going to try from here is the recipe for making your own pizza dough. So I've got some friends coming around in a couple of weeks, and I'm gonna make my own pizza dough so that we can make our own pizzas, or at least that's the plan. Whether I'll actually get around to that or not, I don't know. It's also got how to make perfect rice. It's got loads of great tips in there for young cooks, and this is a book that I do still enjoy using and going back to when I want to make something straightforward and simple. Now the next book is one that is not straightforward and simple, even though it claims to be. It is called Quick and Easy Workday Dinners. I got this in a charity shop when I was a student because of the title. It was I think it was when I was doing my teacher training, and I thought, oh, there'll be some great simple recipes in there I can cook for my housemates. Actually, turns out a lot of them are more complicated than they sound, but I have found some really great recipes that I love, and actually my 2 favourite things to cook for my dinner are in here, and I go back to them all the time and make them really regularly. So here we have my 2 all-time favourite recipes. We've got tortilla pie, which is kind of like Mexican lasagna, so it's a chili and you layer the chili with tortillas and cheese and salsa to make a pie, and it was really, really lovely, and I love making it. It's my favourite thing to make if I have people coming round for dinner. And then my other favourite recipe is Mexican chicken bake, which again is actually quite straightforward. It's not quick, but it is easy. This is my favourite comfort meal, and I love making this because I get 6 portions out of it. It says it serves 4, but I actually tend to make 6 portions, and then I know I've got it in the freezer if I just come in and I want something that I know I'm gonna love, and this is my favourite for those days. There's a lot of other recipes in here that I want to try. It's just getting my head around how they work. Although it says they're quick and easy, they aren't necessarily, although they tend to use sort of cheat ingredients. So like rather than making your own sauces, you buy a jar of sauce, or like the tortilla pie, you buy, like I tend to buy a fajita kit and then I use that, so I've got all the spices there. Rather than like figuring out or using specific amounts of spices, it just says like buy a spice mix or buy a jar of this type of sauce. I think that's where they come from with saying it's sort of quick and easy. I suppose it's fancy food in an easy way, let's call it that. So I was really pleased, really glad that I found this book when I did, and yeah, I look forward to trying out some more of the recipes in the near future. The next one I'm going to talk about is actually my most recent cookbook acquisition. This was given to me for Christmas and it's one that it was on my wish list, and I'm just really so pleased that I've got it now because I really love it. It's called Cooking on a Bootstrap by Jack Monroe. So I discovered Jack Monroe on Twitter a little while ago, and she often talks about cooking, making it easy. I actually discovered her because she was talking about how copies of this book have been donated to food banks because they're really simple, straightforward recipes, often using tinned or frozen ingredients, so they're really easy to make for people that are on a low income and maybe getting their food from food banks, so it's less likely to be fresh food. And also she has, I can't remember what illness she has, but it sometimes makes it hard for her to actually chop food, so it often uses pre-prepared stuff. One of my favourite recipes of hers actually isn't in this book, it's in one of her previous books, but I found it on her website, and that is peach and chickpea curry, which is another one of my go-to comfort meals, and it's really quick and easy to make. Yeah, I've tried a couple of recipes out of here, so I've tried this, it's not got pictures, but the best ever nut burger. My burgers didn't turn out perfectly, but they were really tasty, so I'm gonna try this recipe again and try and make them a bit better. I just had struggled with the combining and the frying, and it's my fault, not the fault of the recipe, so I'm looking forward to having another go at them. And the other great thing about this cookbook is a lot of the recipes are vegetarian or vegan, so don't want to phrase this in the wrong way and do them a disservice. So I have a couple of friends that occasionally have vegan periods because of health reasons, so they don't always eat vegan food, but sometimes they do, so it's really handy to have a reference book of quick and easy vegetarian and vegan recipes to go to. The other recipe in here that I really like is called Mandarin Bircher, which is a breakfast meal, and it's kind of a form of overnight oats, but it's really quick and easy, and I love using overnight oats to make sure I'm getting a nutritious breakfast. I'm so excited that I was given this book for Christmas, and I'm looking forward to trying out more recipes from there because I've not tried that many so far, but just so many of them sound really yummy. There's just so many lovely sounding things in there. So that's that one, Cooking on a Bootstrap by Jack Monroe, and I also want to try and find her other cookbooks because I really love her recipes. Finally, my all-time favourite cookbook, and the one cookbook that I've made most things from, is the Bake a Difference cookbook, which is produced by Traidcraft. This is a collection of recipes intended to promote the use of fair trade ingredients, so most of these recipes have at least a couple of ingredients that you can use fair trade versions of. The majority of the book is cakes and biscuits and bakes, sort of baked goods, but then there's also a section of sort of proper meals at the end. This cashew nut curry is another one of my favourite dinners. I haven't made it for a while though, but it's really yummy. A couple of years ago, in the run up to my 30th birthday, I was trying to cook every recipe from this book, and I managed about a third of them, because for most of that year I was still living with my parents, didn't have my own kitchen, so it was quite difficult to bake them. Another of my favourite recipes in here actually is the breakfast muffins, so I have made them before and used them for my breakfasts. This one is a really nice one, salted caramel choc chip cookie bars. It's gooey and yummy and amazing. There's just so many good things in here. This chocolate squares, it's like a chocolate flapjack. I've made so many that I can't even remember all the ones I've done so far now. Oh yeah, no, I remember this one. Peanut butter squares, which I didn't think I'd like because the main ingredients are digestive biscuits and peanut butter, and I don't like either of those ingredients, but amazingly I really loved these when they were made. Barabrith is another of my favourites. I really love Barabrith. Beanie's cookies, so you can't get the fair trade like Smartie type things anymore, so I'd use fair trade chocolate buttons or just fair trade chocolate to make chocolate chips. Just so many good things in here. The biscotti, I love the biscotti, that's one of my favourites. I even actually made the baklava from this recipe. There's just such a wide range of different bakes and things in here. I'm trying to think if there's any that I didn't like, but I don't think I've cooked anything from here and not enjoyed it. And I've cooked quite a lot of these recipes. There's still quite a lot of recipes in here that I haven't cooked yet, but I'm aiming to at some point. That is probably my favourite ever cookbook. Originally, I bought a copy of this book for my mum for Mother's Day one year, and she loved it so much that she started buying copies for everyone, including for me. So that was quite sweet actually, that she really enjoyed the cookbook so much that she just got everyone copies, and I was one of those people. So that's the gift that keeps on giving, really. This is a really great cookbook, and I love that it promotes the use of fair trade ingredients, because I try and be as ethical as I can be with my shopping when I'm on quite a tight budget, and one of the ways I do that is trying to buy fair trade ingredients where I possibly can. So this was a really helpful reminder to have, that a lot of people don't have it as easy as we do, and like it's good to try and shop in a way that benefits the world and the people producing the food and the environment. So those are my 5 favourite cookbooks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you are enjoying the series looking at some different types of books that I own that aren't just sort of your regular booktube type books, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that's all for today. So let me know if you like baking and what your favourite cookbooks are, and what are some of your favourite recipes, particularly if you've got links to them, because I love trying out new recipes. Have a chat to me down in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to get to know you on my bookish channel. Gone blank again. So that's all for today, and thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!